I knew this guy was vile, but I didn't really know how vile he was. God of War director David Jaffe recently said that YouTube grifters are the reason why Dragon Age the Veilguard failed. But while also making those claims, he compared transgenderism to being black. Absolutely sick and disgusting. Truly, truly vile stuff here from David Jaffe. I wrote this up over at fandompulse.com. I suggest you head on over there, become a paid subscriber, and help support us expose people like David Jaffe and his wicked and vile ways. This is the place that will be doing that. So this is what David Jaffe had to say. He did a video upload to his YouTube channel, which appears to be a clip from a live stream. He answered a viewer question about the gaming community ruining the game. And he said this: when you say the gaming community ruined this game's success, I don't think that's entirely fair, but I think there is a lot of truth to it. He then added, really, at this point, all that that gaming community that you're talking about has done is that they've made it so they've actually made games worse, which is what they say they're trying not to do. So I don't even know how anyone who is criticizing or commenting or providing an opinion on a game can somehow make a game worse when they actually haven't worked on it whatsoever. Doesn't really make any sense to me, especially if that game has already been created and they're just simply playing it. Now, obviously, we've seen where a lot of that criticism that we have given does indeed allow developers to make patches, make fixes. We've seen Asper do that, obviously, with the Tomb Raider remasters, and then with the upcoming Legacy of Kain remaster, where they've actually made changes that are beneficial to the game. We've obviously seen that with Sonic the Hedgehog, where they had the absolutely horrendous character design for that film. They fixed it, and now they've had a trilogy and a spin-off television show on the Paramount Plus platform. So we've actually seen where it's actually improved and actually been financially successful. But as far as criticizing Dragon Age the Veilguard or any of these other woke disasters, I don't think it's made those games worse. It's just exposed how absolutely horrendous those games are. Because we're not actually creating these games. We're not the ones developing the games. We're not the ones doing those fixes. It's on the developers to do that. And obviously, there are certain developers that are willing to listen to that feedback, as I noted, such as Asper. And there's ones that clearly are not, such as BioWare, such as Ubisoft. Nevertheless, Jaffe went on and said this: because they have the charismatic grifters that make the videos that, for whatever reason, people respond to. People who haven't played this game will hate it just because they're sort of told to hate it. That's absolutely not true either. He thinks that people are lemmings and people that are NPCs. Just kind of shows you what he thinks of you. I mean, it's absolutely despicable and vile. I'm pretty sure that people can make up their own opinions. They can listen to different people and then come to their own conclusions. I think that is what people do. And there are a lot of people that are not interested in the gender ideology that Dragon Age the Veilguard was clearly promoting. They're not interested in the disordered sexual behavior that the game is clearly promoting, that they talked about in interviews, that they showed off in videos, that they made clear was in the game. And that is a massive turnoff for lots of people. And it actually affects people. It helps damage society in significant ways. You just look around you. Look around the United States. Look around the West. Look at how it has significantly declined in the last 20, 30 plus years. Anyways, he goes on and says this: and so what does EA do next time? They don't make Stellar Blade. They just continue to sort of, vanilla the F out of everything they work on and make sure that no one's going to have anything to complain about, which that's absolutely ironic given the fact that most of the criticisms outside of the gender ideology and the disordered sexual behavior is that the game lacked any kind of edge, and it actually removed it and made it more vanilla. You just literally can't make this stuff up. I mean, these people they're constant liars. And this David Jaffe guy is one of the biggest liars as well. This dude I knew this guy was vile, but I mean, he just takes it to another level in this video. And this is the worst part here. And I'm actually going to play it so you can hear it from his mouth and hear how absolutely sick and disgusting this man is.
Apparently is the Barv trans character. And so far, there's nothing Not that that needs to be, I mean, to me, that's the equivalent of saying, do you want black people? Do you want black people in your game? We have a button that'll get the blacks out. That's the equivalent of it. But if that's what you're saying, I mean, I didn't even know that's what they were asking. The only thing I've come across so far, and again,
so there you go. This guy is literally comparing mental illness, transgenderism, transgender ideology, mental illness to being black. What an absolute sick individual. This guy is evil. That is evil. Absolutely sick and disgusting. That is what he said. And he thinks he's making a point. Who even thinks like that? This guy thinks that if you don't want mental illness, you don't want this evil ideology that is destroying people, literally leads to destruction. People are hurting themselves. Doctors are performing operations to hurt people. They're taking pills to chemically alter themselves. Leads to significant harm. He is comparing that to being born black. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Just sick. Absolutely sick. So while he's claiming that YouTubers are killed this game, which no, BioWare killed the game themselves. They're the ones who put all this stuff in the game. They're the ones who promoted all this stuff. They're the ones who marketed all this stuff. They're the ones who are trying to push all of this stuff on players. They're the ones who changed the aesthetic. They're the ones who changed the gameplay. They made all those decisions. But he actually admits that the barf scene where she goes and does the push-ups because she misgenders the Kunari, he actually admits that's terrible. He hasn't gotten to that in the game in his little playthrough here. He's only played about an hour. But he admits that it's terrible. He says it's bad, but it's YouTube grifters that killed the game. You can't even make this stuff up. He literally admits that the stuff is terrible, but he's still blaming other people for killing the game. Cannot make it up. He says this, the only thing I've come across so far, and again, I've seen that cutscene, it's terribly written and performed, the barf thing, but the only thing I've even come across so far is when you're talking to characters, and one of your multiple options is you can romance a character who is the same sex as your character, and you can just be like, oh, thanks, or oh, no, thanks. You're like Chad and SNL. It's like, no, thanks, if that's not what you're into. Well, that shouldn't even be in the game in the first place. It shouldn't. Promoting disordered behavior should not be in these video games. And people are responding to that. They don't want any of this stuff anymore. Enough is enough. He then returned to blaming YouTubers for the game's failure. He says the grifters who hate woke still streamed the game and played it to finish grifting how bad the game was. So yeah, they didn't like it, but played it for views and ad revenue equals grift. Yeah, well, that's absolutely absurd. I mean, people have been reviewing media since media has existed. And they've shared their opinions after watching it, after playing it, after reading it. There are plenty of people who read and watch things that do so to specifically warn people not to watch or play them. There is nothing wrong with that. That is not grifting. But he just uses that because he wants to attack people. And he's lying too. He knows that reviewers are legitimate. He knows that what these people are doing is legitimate. He just disagrees with their opinions, so he's going to attack them and try to malign them. And we see this. I mean, we just read all of what he said. We listened to some of his comments here. I mean, this guy is a vile individual. He is a person of ill repute. He has very poor character. And he must be opposed. We must oppose him. But at the same time, while I've said all this, while I've criticized him, and I will continue to criticize him, I will also pray for him. I will pray for him that he repents, that he seeks forgiveness, and he stops engaging in these wicked actions. And that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. But let me know what you guys make of what David Jaffe had to say here. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always, always speak the truth.